Hey there, I'm Pastor Clark with Coffee Creek Church. Welcome to our podcast, and I just want to thank you so much for joining us for part 3 of Christmas Playlist. If you missed the first two, you can always catch them on our app, coffeecreek.app, or our website, coffeecreek.church. Both of those ways are ways to access the teachings. When you get to those sites, just click the big watch button, and you can find it there. You can also listen to this podcast anywhere podcasts are received. So we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon. You can actually just talk to Alexa and say, cue up the Coffee Creek Church podcast, and it'll start immediately. So anywhere you can listen to a podcast, we are there. Just search for the Coffee Creek Church podcast. But again, thanks so much for joining me. And I just want to give you a warm welcome in this Christmas season, as we are in the season of what the traditional Christian church is called Advent, and that is the season that leads up to Christmas, and then Christmas begins on Christmas Eve. I've got my coffee with me today. I hope you have something warm. If it's cold for you, it's kind of cold in my office today. And I just wanted to talk for a moment about our mission at Coffee Creek, and that is to love God and do good. And that comes from Jesus' great commandments, where he said to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. And so we see that as a part of what we're doing here at Coffee Creek. And if you want to support our work, including this podcast and this video that we send out every single week, you can go to coffeecreek.church/give. You can see about all the projects. We've actually got our 2025 annual impact report up now. So you can see what happened in 2025 with what people gave here. We are 100% supported by the people that call this place home. We don't receive outside grants or funding from any government organizations. So 100% of what we're able to do comes from awesome people like you. And so I just want to thank you for your support and for helping us to continue this awesome ministry right here in our community and across the world through the internet. So thanks so much for being a part of our family. So today I want to talk to you about the third Sunday of Advent, which is this Advent Sunday called Joy. And we focus in on this word joy. And there's nothing that says Christmas or home at Christmas or whatever you want to think about, just that those warm fuzzies you get, more than this specific album. And an album, for those of you that don't know, is a way that we used to listen to music. A needle would physically run itself over some plastic and or vinyl, I guess, and somehow sound was recorded in that, and it made some noise, and it sounded pretty good. And this album, my parents got, I guess, before I was born, because this is from 1973. It cost $1. It was sold at JCPenney stores. And it was kind of just a compilation. It wasn't just one artist. It was just a lot of different music. It's got this cheesy red candle on it. And I'm telling you, there's been nothing throughout my 47 years that have clued me into, hey, it's Christmas time. Hey, it's the feeling of Christmas than this album. In fact, when I was first married, I think my parents got rid of the album. And so I looked it up on eBay and I bought myself a copy. Before that, I had recreated it on a CD. You used to be able to burn CDs. I guess you still can, but I can't. I don't have a CD drive anymore. But I burned it onto a CD, and now I have built a playlist for everyone in the world for free on Spotify. You can find this playlist that I created on Spotify that has almost all the music. It's not quite all of it, so I love being able to listen to this music. I did find someone had built one on YouTube now, so you can go to YouTube, and I think it's complete. I believe they just took it from the record. But this music, wow. I mean, more than anything modern, I typically like really old Christmas stuff anyway. But you talk about the age of this album at 50 years old, 52 years old. And then not only the age of the album, but the music on there was recorded way before then. So like most of it was not contemporary music even for them. So this, and it's like, if you ever hear a song somewhere and you go, oh, that's high school, or oh, that was my wedding, or oh, that was that one relationship I had. This music for me is like I'm programmed. It's like instantly I feel that serious Christmas warmth kind of just roll all over me, and I'm smelling chocolate chip cookies, and I'm tasting that Christmas fudge, and I'm thinking about the presents that I got or gave, or that one Christmas where I was able to do something really cool for someone, and all of a sudden, it's just like all these crazy, good, fuzzy, warm feelings. But the weird thing is, I've noticed, is that even though I have those feelings, and I'm like you have something like that for you, they don't last. There's something inside of me that's always hungering for that feeling of home, because as soon as the music fades, it seems like that also fades. And I want to talk about that kind of that feeling, because I think we spend most of our lives chasing joy. And I think in December, there's really high expectations for joy. Get that perfect family Christmas photo, get the perfect Christmas feast going, get their traditions going, all the expectations. And the problem is, the kind of joy that you can buy on clearance next month is not the kind of joy that's going to last. So nothing that you do this month is really going to be a long-term joy. If it's in a sale ad, if it's something that you can wrap up, because all those things create joy temporarily for the moment, but they don't have the ability, in my experience, to create something that lasts very long. And the reason I think that is where I'm going with this, is the world around me is not my home. I am clearly not made for this world. It is but temporary. And, I just went to the eye doctor this week, and he said, yeah, you got the eyes of a 47-year-old, which means it's time for glasses. It's like, thank you so much. Deep down, Jesus knew, and I think we know, this is all very temporary. This is not our home. This is not our final. This is a kind of a way station, a waiting room, if you will. And we can be made comfortable with some magazines and some coffee. And, I waited the other day on an oil change, and they brought me out a bottle of water. I thought, well, that was very nice. Some places I go where I get my wife's car oil change, they have a Keurig machine, so they have coffee, and I always think that's really pleasant. But it's not home. I'd much rather be home. And so I think we know that this is not home. In fact, if you think about the original Christmas story, Mary is giving birth to Jesus. It says in Luke 2:7, she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger, because there was no lodging available for them. So let that line impact you. Roll that around in your mind for just a moment. Jesus, the Christmas story, the nativity, all originates in homelessness. Jesus does not have a place to call home. He is born not in his home. He's born in a manger. Not a pleasant experience, not even a bottle of water for the Messiah. We are surprised by this. We are often surprised by this very humble entry for Jesus, the Messiah, the Lord, into our world. My question to you is, do you think for a minute that God was surprised by any of this? I mean, we're shocked. A manger? Good night. Where animals are? What are you talking about? No. God wasn't asking to speak to the manager of the inn. I booked a room like 9 months ago. I put a deposit down. No, God wasn't surprised. Jesus enters this world without a home, and this is no accident. This is by design. And I think it's interesting that this Jesus who enters homeless, this Jesus who is not even in his home country at that point, he is outside of where he will grow up, he becomes the one that offers you a home. No matter where you are, no matter what you've done, no matter who you are, no matter if any other human has ever felt like home to you or made you feel at home, no matter if you feel like an outsider, you feel weird, you feel different, Jesus, who felt very out of place much of his life, even with his closest friends felt like they didn't understand him, Jesus says something really powerful here in John 14 that I want you to hear. And I want you to hear it not as I'm saying it to you, but what if you were in the room listening to Jesus say this? And these words were so powerful and so impactful that people passed them down for hundreds of years and wrote them down and have been talking about them for over 2,000 years now. Why? because life is very imperfect and very chaotic and very lonely. And Jesus knew we would be full of that trouble and chaos and hurt and pain. And he wanted to say something to those of us that feel like outsiders. You're not alone. Listen to this word. Jesus in John 14. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God and trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, I would have told you. I am going to prepare a place for you. When everything is ready, I will come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am. Jesus says, look, I'm going to prepare a place for you. You're going to have a spot in my Father's house. I wouldn't have said I'm going to go do this if there wouldn't have been enough room for you. You're included. You who think you're outsiders, you have your own space. The Father has thought enough of that, and he's sent me on this mission to let you know that. And I'm going back to be with him, and we're going to get this place ready for you. And when it's all set up, I'm coming back for you, and you will always be with me where I am. Jesus, who our world gave no quarter, our world gave no room to him at all, becomes the God who makes room for everyone. Not just the Israelites, who were God's chosen people, who had for thousands upon thousands of years known that God was going to create a space for them. He's talking to everyone. People that did not have a tribe, that did not have a claim to the throne, did not have any sort of lineage. And now that far limited number has been expanded to infinity. Everyone is welcome. The homeless Jesus is preparing an eternal home with many rooms. And so whether you're homeless in the physical sense that we talk about homeless problems today and that folks are without housing, or whether you've kind of had that nagging feeling that you're out of place. And I know so many people who feel like this when they go to certain places, and certainly I do as well. We walk into a room and we don't feel like we're welcome. And so Jesus wanted to communicate to everyone, don't be troubled in your heart. Look, there's more than enough room in my family, and you're welcome. And not only are you welcome, we are preparing a place for you. So how odd is it going to be if you don't show up when we have created a place for you? We went to extra effort to make a space just for you. And I don't think we often personalize what Jesus said here to his disciples. But in this moment, Jesus delivers a sort of joy that we can't manufacture or create on our own. Joy in the feeling of finally belonging, finally finding your people, finally finding home. And not just a moment of temporary happiness, right? Not just hi, that song hits, the fudge hits, right? The gift is great, thank you. But like at the end of a meal, that kind of satisfaction of where you're like, I'm going to be okay. I belong. I finally found home. And what I've realized is that home is not a place. Home is a person. And that person is Jesus. C.S. Lewis said it this way. He said, joy is the serious business of heaven. Heaven is at work. The kingdom of God is at work as a factory of joy. This is serious business to them. What we might think is funny or temporary or, a diversionary thought at best. No, this is the work of heaven. It is all about joy. And joy is not found in any place. You don't have to try to travel to the North Pole. You don't have to go to a certain house. You don't have to have a certain food or present with a certain perfect Christmas or holiday. All that's fleeting. Even if you hit it perfectly, all that's fleeting. Because joy is found in a person. And the person is Jesus. And it doesn't cost you a thing to say yes to Jesus right now, to trust him with your life, to say, Jesus, I'm at the end. I have tried to find joy in so much garbage, and it's all come up empty, dry. The promises that were made were not kept, and joy eludes me still. I can't catch it. I can't find it. And if I find it, it's gone. Then I blink and it's gone. I turn the head the wrong way and it's over. So help me to find real joy. which is beginning in the relationship with Jesus. And ultimately, we have to come to a point where we really comprehend that this whole place is quite temporary for us. The whole way the world works is quite temporary. Even when you go to a nice hotel, do you ever really think, oh, well, I'm home? No, of course not, right? The biggest indicator, if you want a towel, you can't just go get it out of the closet. You have to ask for permission. You have to call in a little number on the phone. May I please have a towel? And depending on the quality of the hotel, they're either going to say, wait right there, we'll bring one to you, or, yeah, come on down. Right? Hotels are temporary. And no matter how nice it is, you don't want to live there. You know you don't belong. Everything is borrowed. You're sleeping on someone else's bed. You're on someone else's pillow at night. Someone else used the bathroom the day before. It's not home. And so no matter how nice things get here for you, some people have it rough, some people have it nice, and a lot of us are in between. But no matter how wonderful it ever gets here, you kind of have this gut level conviction that this isn't home. Something's not right here. Every time someone dies, I feel that. Whether there's someone I knew or someone I didn't know. Whether I talk to someone in the family and processing those emotions with them, or it's a personal friend of mine, I just get this gut feeling that this is not right. That this can't be home. And that's the earth we know it is today. It's temporary. It's not complete. It's beautiful in parts. It's terrible in parts. It's this mix. But one day transformation is coming for all of us. And so any joy that we experience now, and there are moments of genuine joy and beauty and wonder, and those are great, but they'll always be just a glimpse, not the whole picture. So the beautiful part of that is it's a glimpse of the greater things that are to come, and that you can start to experience that now. You'll get a taste of it now, which will further develop your sense of hunger and taste for the real, beautiful kingdom of heaven that's coming. Jesus begins his life in a room or an inn where there's no room, right? I mean, there's no place here for you. And many of our neighbors live a similar story today. They're told time and time again, there's no room for you, there's no room for you, there's no room for you. Whether it's a physical room or they're being excluded. We have folks that are homeless in Oklahoma City that are living on the street. And it gets cold and they can hardly find a place to keep warm. And so that's why our work with them is important, to let them know that we're praying for them, that we want to take resources to them, that we want to provide coats and hats and socks, and we want them to be warm, even in a terrible situation that we can't completely fix. We recently talked about in October the refugees that are here who are fleeing war and persecution, many for their faith in foreign countries. And how we treat these people is a direct response to how we understand just how temporary this place is for all of us. There's no reason to hoard resources because none of this lasts. Leviticus 19 is interesting. It says, God speaks, when a foreigner lives with you in your land, don't take advantage of him. Treat the foreigner the same as a native. Love him like one of your own. When we see someone that's going through a rough time, whether they're a coworker or a neighbor or a friend or a classmate or a complete stranger on the street that's homeless, we have an obligation to love them the way that God would love them, to see them the way that God sees them, to not create false distinctions and ideologies that separate us from one another, but instead say no to the division that the deceiver sows in our world, and instead say yes to the fact that we are all one. We are a part of God's creation, and he desires for us to not hurt others. He said clearly, when they live with your land, don't take advantage. Treat them the same as someone who is born there. Love them like one of your own. This is clear guidance on how to treat one another. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a pastor who died at the hands of the Nazis on April 9th, 1945, right before the end of the war. And Bonhoeffer said this. He said, That is the wonder of all wonders, that God loves the lowly. God is not ashamed of the lowliness of human beings. God marches right in. He chooses people as his instruments and performs his wonders where one would least expect them. God is near to lowliness. He loves the lost, the neglected, the unseemly, the excluded, the weak and broken. I trust that Bonhoeffer had a pretty keen sense of some of these things, being as he was persecuted himself for his Christian beliefs by the Nazis. Think about that idea, how beautiful that is. God confounds us continually. He chooses as his instruments, and he does wonders where we would least expect them. And he does all of this to show that he loves the lost. He loves the neglected. He loves those people that we would say, oh, the excluded, the weak, the broken. And if we're honest, every single one of us fits in one of those categories at least part of the time in our life. And most of us all the time in at least one of those categories. So here is what we can do. I think Christmas is an invitation for you to experience joy and to share joy. Joy is not something you want to hide or keep or just enjoy for yourself. You want to share that around. And the cool thing, that it's kind of a multiplication principle here, is the more that you share joy with others, the more it kind of multiplies in you as a side benefit. And so that's really awesome. So what if you were to pray? Pray for one person who needs some joy in their life. Maybe just invite them to come sit by you at church. You know, we have really cool things coming up at Coffee Creek. We have our candlelight on December 23rd, which is a really cool experience we do every year. We have 2 of those opportunities. We have Sunday, December the 21st, church, where we're going to wrap this series up and talk about the love of Jesus for us. And that's the Advent focus that week. We have the first Sunday of next year where we'll be talking. We'll be praying in the first Sunday, and then the second Sunday we'll start a new series called Downtime. We're going to talk about what it looks like to spend time in Sabbath and solitude and silence with God. And the thing is, this is so easy. There's no pressure. There's no speech you have to have made. There's no sales pitch. It's just simple hospitality. Just welcome someone. Hey, come sit with me. I'd love for you to join me. And if you're fully remote with us, let me go back one. If you're fully remote with us, maybe it's just to say to someone, hey, let's listen to this together. Let's watch this together. But spending time, simple time over a cup of coffee, joy is found in Jesus. And if that's true, then inviting others to meet him is the most wonderful thing and joyful thing you could do this Christmas. So this is what we said today. Joy isn't found in a place. You don't have to worry about getting the address right, MapQuest, GPS. You don't have to worry about all that. It's not a place. You're not going to discover it. There's no Nicolas Cage treasure map hidden somewhere and you're going to decipher all the clues. People have tried, believe me. It's not that way. Joy is a person. It is Jesus. And imagine if everyone in our community found home in the embrace of Jesus, that his promise that there's room for you in my house was lived out. We experienced that. Imagine we get to share the joy of belonging because we're hospitable and we welcome other people. Christmas becomes a moment not just for feeling a temporary high of joy, but experiencing it on a regular basis, a prolonged basis, because we have been able to welcome others. And so what if you could kickstart your joy this Christmas, which is a simple invite? Come sit by me. My church has a place for you. I want to pray that for you. Let's pray. Jesus, I pray that you would help us to find joy this Christmas and that we would share that joy with others. May we ultimately realize it's not a place, but it's you. And we can trust you this Christmas. Amen. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. Next Sunday, like I said, we'll close out in part 4. It is the Sunday of Love, and we would love to have you back here with us again. If you can make it, December the 23rd is our candlelight service. We do plan to be online with that as well, but it is so powerful. If you can be in the room with us at all, please make plans to do that. 5:30 and 7 that night. We end with Silent Night, and we light candles across the room, and it is beautiful. And so we'd love to see you here for that. Until then, friends, God bless you. We'll see you next time.